Hello and welcome to the Clashing of Steel.
Well, it's been a while since I made the Phalanx video. There were many players calling it BS, and there were many players who realized the potential that the Phalanx, currently has. And there were also some with a lack of imagination, like why would I play 1 spears and 2 archers? So the day after they pretty much released it to the open beta, I played around 15, maybe 20 matches with the different spear units and commanders. Well, around in 70% of the matches, I could use the removed Phalanx friendly fire for my advantage. So here are just some examples. So starting here with Leonidas. This is probably one of the simplest examples. A unit stuck between 2 spear units. Well, in current situation, it's a spear unit stuck between spear units. The damage inflicted by pretty much just crushing into them is huge. I perhaps even did it a bit badly here because I walked through from both sides. I could have just sealed up one side and pushed in from the rear and pulling back, pushing in once again and pulling back. Well, as it is so that the crushing opponent between 2 units should destroy them, in the case of the Phalanx, or the Spear Phalanx, it is way too strong compared to the Swordsmen. Swordsmen are already inferior compared to Spearmen, at least if you know how to play Spearmen. And you don't need some heavy-duty commander like Leonidas to do so. Okay, let's bring another example with Miltiades. So I am after the javelins here, there is nothing special about it. I charge them and I get supported by the cavalry. Because there is no friendly fire from the Phalanx, I can use the spears to destroy any opponents that can be engaged. My single unit of spears is destroying ranged units faster than 3 units of cavalries. And now happens another beautiful thing. Well, the opponent's cavalry here tried to make a right move. It would have been the right decision. They should have been able to punish the cavalry that engaged their javelins, because it did not cover its rear. But then again, since the Phalanx doesn't do any friendly fire, I can just support them by pushing through them. I will push through and pull back. Well, the problem I see here is that there are moments when somebody should get punished for not acting accordingly. But since there is no friendly fire like this, I can counteract that punishment with little ease. Okay, this is a bit extreme, so for example we could take that the cavalry was instead swordsmen. They were trying to punish the cavalry who tried to help me flank my opponents. And my friendly cavalry could rather easily avoid punishment by just rushing through me. So, for example, I could take this as one of the problems I see. It creates counteracting certain engagements way too easy. It isn't all about how new players play them, because at first it is always hard. But after playing them for a while, players will learn and adapt. And perhaps in the end realize the true potential of these units. So I'm gonna bring spears versus spears to the table. There is a lot of positioning that plays a role when you're fighting spears versus spears. But I'm still going to show pretty much the same old example. If I want to cross my units, there isn't gonna be any form of friendly fire. It will just be a brutal punishment for that player who tried to cover its sides and, well, exposed himself because of that. I could pretty much cross my units whichever way and I could fight on 2 separate fronts at once. Thanks to the Phalanx, spearmen have already a lot of options. Their removed friendly fire just amplifies those options. It is just limited by the player's own imagination. As you even see it here, I'm pushing and pulling back, just annoying my opponents. In some situations, just crushing them from 2 fronts. Just creating another painful situation where my Phalanx is really strong. The reason I am so heavily against the removed friendly fire from the Phalanx is that the spears are already so strong, probably the strongest unit in the game. Okay, they're second to pikemen, but still. It just depends how you use these units. Okay, so here's Carthage. Their Phalanx can sometimes be even more ridiculous because of the speed and the damage output of it. Okay, so here I'm just pushing in and I'm gonna use the thrust. and this was already just ridiculous. The spears did so much, they actually hit both units, both swordsmen. Even if we don't count the thrust, the damage was just huge. And well, I'm gonna do another switch here. I'm gonna push in, switch my units up, and create a lovely situation which everybody loves. So basically you saw what a single unit of spear phalanx could do. And well, if I just switch them up, I force them to target my other unit. If they fail with it, they are dead. They lose a lot of troops. And well, now I'm just creating a lovely situation where my phalanx is gonna cause even more harm. I'm gonna use it to flank the opponents. Through my own friendly units, of course. So, if any spear player who knows the spear strengths and weaknesses, knows how to use the removed friendly fire from the phalanx to their advantage, can cause just so much harm. Okay, these barbarians aren't just smart. They're stacked in a single location with all 3 units, and well, this is just a retarded situation. But before what you saw, the strike, what it did, the phalanx engagement, what happened, it just showed how incredible the phalanx can be. Okay, that was some really lucky situation. Opponents charged into me, I pushed into them, I used thrust and so, but still. The phalanx could even now be used as a retreat option against melee infantries. They could retreat through each other and just kite the engaging melee units. As I said it before, the only limitation to the tactics you can do is your own imagination. So here's another engagement. Even here I'm going to use the phalanx for my advantage. And as you can see, there are already friendly troops inside of me. Although my tactic was a bit different here, the best situation would be if I could get him engaged and use my own turns. So he engaged the swordsman, and now, well, it's gonna be interesting, it's gonna be lovely. And well, now I can use my spears to take down this Germanicus here. I can flank from the side into my own friendly troops because of the removed friendly fire. I will inflict a lot of damage, and I will also receive some, of course. There is no doing some without getting some. But the focus is that I can flank them from the side very effectively. I don't have to worry about my friendlies, and if I would do it from behind, it would still be very strong. But I would have to move a bit more. I could have actually used another option. I did not have to flank them, I could have just pulled back behind the swordsman and pushed through them. And by doing that constantly, I would have created a situation where he had to switch targets every few seconds. I would have messed up his targets, and since his targets were messed up, he would have tried to run towards the target that he wanted to engage, and would end up fighting unit that would be switched. I know it sounds complicated, but just as I said before, the only limitation is your imagination. So here's a moment when I see another player using the similar tactic. He used that one already in Phalanx, and well, now we'll just try to force them in the shape of an L to crush them. Just because we don't see many spearmen using this tactic doesn't mean it's not effective. The problem is that many just don't realize the possibilities they have thanks to this option. As I said before, it just multiplies the option of the strongest units in the game. Just because so many players fail with them doesn't mean that they're weak. I could even bring the strikes to the table, which just amplify the strength of the spear phalanx. It is just painful to watch how units that were one of the strongest in the game, tactical and required teamwork, can now be played either mindlessly, or by those who know how to play them can create deadly engagements or combinations. Kinda has this Germanicus feel to it, of a mindless struggle match engagements. Well, now the engagements are just too easy to manage. If they don't plan on bringing back the friendly fire, they must be balanced in some other way. And I fear through that balance, the overall defensiveness of the spears is going to suffer. Or perhaps it will go under the radar for a while, because many players don't play like this. But it can be really effective when you just use your units to flank harass from different sides through your own units. Or through your friendly units, that is. I could bring dozens of these examples how I could use the removed friendly fire from Phalanx for my advantage. So in general, the big problem I see is that we have already made strong units easier to play. And when many players realize the potential of this unit, and the spears would be dominating, which they actually already are, at least by the veteran players or the smart players, there is bound to be a certain shift in the Phalanx effectiveness or the spear unit's effectiveness. I'm sure that in most matches players don't use the Phalanxes like this. That is the lost potential. As I said before, it will go under the radar if players don't use it to their potential. But then again, if players use it to their potential, it will be noticed. This topic has two sides. One, the players who support the removed friendly fire. And two, the players who don't. There are several reasons why I don't support it. For example, I know that skilled players can get so much more out of it. But then again, for the new players, it is really hard to manage these spears at first. Another reason behind it is that spears are a lot easier to play to their maximum potential. The micromanaging has gone way down and it is easier to manage. Even some mindless plays can be ridiculously rewarding if you know at least something about the Phalanx. Well, this is pretty much it. I made this video because around every fourth comment was, this is not what is going down, this is not actually happening, this will not happen, these are the unrealistic situations. In short, I did it because many players lacked imagination. And those examples in my last video were probably the most extreme examples I could bring. I just showed the maximum messed up thing that could happen. And well, I'm not sure if these situations are a lot better. I am not using them as straightforward as I did in that video, but I'm still using them and I'm getting a lot of use out of them. So this was the second test of the Phalanx. Anyways, don't forget to subscribe and thanks for watching.